Today we're going to talk about a franchise in horror movie history that redefined the terror of silence and suspense so masterfully that audiences were frightened even when there was no sound at all. We're talking about The Strangers universe, a film series built around masked intruders, isolated homes, and murders carried out without motive or mercy. In today's video, we'll explore the complete timeline of the series, breaking down the first 3 chapters in detail, and then we'll step into the chilling beginning of Chapter 2, a continuation that is about to take the franchise in a bold new direction. If you're new to the channel, make sure to hit like and subscribe because this is where you'll always find the most intense, fastest, and most accurate updates from the world of Hollywood horror. So let's start at the very beginning. The year was 2008. It was a time when horror cinema was undergoing a transformation. Rather than relying on blood-soaked scenes or grotesque monsters, filmmakers were now tapping into atmosphere and silence to induce fear. And in that same year came a movie that stole away the audience's sleep and replaced it with dread, The Strangers, 2008. Directed by Brian Bertino and starring Liv Tyler and Scott Speedman, this film introduced a unique style of horror that didn't require ghosts or supernatural elements. No spirits, no demons, just human beings. But human beings so terrifying that their presence alone, without uttering a single word, could make your skin crawl. The story begins with a couple, James and Kristen, who head out to a country house for a quiet vacation. But their peaceful world shatters when, in the middle of the night, there's a knock on the door. A girl softly asks, "Is Tamara home?" That's where the film's haunting tone begins to take shape. One by one, 3 masked strangers, the man in the mask, Dollface, and Pinup Girl, surround the house and begin tormenting the couple without any reason. When Kristen finally musters the courage to ask, "Why are you doing this to us?" the answer is as disturbing as it is iconic: "Because you were home." That single line became the soul of this franchise. Fear without purpose, violence without motive. That's what made The Strangers so chilling and unforgettable. What followed was a long silence, a full decade of it. And then in 2018 came the next installment, The Strangers, Prey at Night. This time, Johannes Roberts stepped in as director, and the lead roles were taken by Christina Hendricks, Martin Henderson, Bailey Madison, and Lewis Pullman. The story shifted focus to a completely different family, one that decides to stop overnight at a trailer park while en route to drop their daughter off at boarding school. But when they arrive, something feels off. The place is eerily quiet. The air is heavy with tension, and once night falls, the masked killers return. This time, the entire family becomes their target. Compared to the first film, this sequel was more graphic, more stylized, with a retro soundtrack, neon-lit visuals, and an unmistakable slasher vibe. Some fans embraced the new tone, others didn't, but one thing was clear: The Strangers weren't done yet. Then came 2024, the year when The Strangers universe took a major turn. That year, The Strangers Chapter 1 hit the screens, directed by Renny Harlin. This film marked the beginning of a new trilogy within the franchise, a fresh reimagining for a new era. In the lead role was Madelaine Petsch as Maya, accompanied by Froy Gutierrez playing her boyfriend Ryan. Once again, the story starts with a couple on a road trip. When their car breaks down in the middle of nowhere, they're forced to spend the night in a small town, unaware that this town is far from ordinary. As darkness falls, they begin to feel it. They're being watched, followed, hunted. The nightmare begins. Chapter 1 brings back the classic trademarks of the franchise: silence, slow-building dread, masked intruders. But this time, Maya is not a helpless victim. She's alert. She's strong. She doesn't just run. She fights. By the end of the film, she manages to survive. But the terror, the trauma, the shock are written all over her face. And in that moment, the stage is set for Chapter 2. Now let's talk about the beginning of The Strangers. Chapter 2. The trailer opens with a haunting silence. Maya is alone. The shadows of what she endured still live on in her eyes, in her expression, in her every breath. We, the audience, are led to believe that the worst is over, that the danger has passed. But that's only Maya's hope, not reality. Because the strangers are back. And this time, it's not a coincidence. It's a mission. One line from the trailer echoes in your mind: "She's still alive." And the message is loud and clear. The motto: they wanted Maya dead. And now they've returned to finish the job they left undone. Chapter 2 starts off like a deep psychological thriller. Maya is no longer just battling masked killers. She's also fighting the scars they've left behind. PTSD, guilt, and paranoia haunt her every waking moment. Every creak in the floor, every gust of wind outside feels like a threat. But no one believes her. When she tries to tell people they've returned, they dismiss her fears as hallucinations, a mind traumatized and broken. But the truth is that something far more unhinged, far more dangerous, and far more deliberate now lurks in the silence. This time, the strangers aren't just playing a game of terror. They're here to end something permanently. But Maya is no longer alone. By her side is a character played by Gabriel Basso, a man who carries his own shadows from the past and begins to understand the horrifying truth Maya is living through. The mood of the trailer shifts from classic home invasion horror to something far more psychologically complex. Each frame, each shot, every unsettling sound is designed not just to scare but to whisper a truth. That this is no longer a story about hiding or escaping. This is a war, a personal war, a war for survival, sanity, and closure. And this, right here, Senun, is where Chapter 2 truly begins. The story begins with the illusion of peace. Maya is now alone. Somehow she survived the final attack in Chapter 1, but that night still lives inside her, in her mind, in her bones, in her silence. When someone knocks at the door, she trembles. When a shadow moves in the dark, she jolts in fear. But the question remains, is this fear just in her head, or have they really returned? Slowly, the old terror starts creeping back into the frame. Maya now lives in a new city under a different name, trying to outrun her past. But the past has a way of finding its way back. For several nights, she starts hearing that same knock again. Soft, deliberate, unforgettable. And then one night, when the power goes out and silence spreads through every corner of her home, Maya realizes she's not alone. The man in the mask, Dollface, and Pinup Girl have returned. But this time, Maya is not just a target. This time, she knows how to fight back. She's realized that running away from fear is pointless. She must face it head on. She returns to her old town, the place where it all began, and it's there that she meets someone, a man played by Gabriel Basso, a figure with wounds of his own, possibly someone whose family once fell victim to these same masked killers. Gabriel teaches her how to turn her pain into power. Together they create a plan, not to run, not to hide, but to end it once and for all. But the strangers are not ordinary killers. They don't obey laws. They can't be tracked. They have no names, no fingerprints, no identities. And that's what makes them so deadly. As the film progresses, Maya and Gabriel find themselves trapped in a psychological web, their minds twisted by the same killers who know exactly how to manipulate fear. Again and again they come close to ending them. But the killers stay one step ahead, exploiting innocence, feeding off confusion, and turning every sound, every movement, every moment into a deadly mind game. That's the brilliance of this story. It's not just a run-and-hide thriller. It's a psychological war. Maya and Gabriel aren't just fighting their enemies. They're battling the silence itself, a silence in which every small sound could be a fatal blow. In the film's final act, Maya is left alone. Gabriel is brutally attacked and severely injured. Maya now faces a choice. She can either run once again like before, or she can stand and confront the fear behind the mask. And this time, she chooses to fight. One by one, she traps them. One by one, she takes them on. And finally, when she wounds the man in the mask, she tries to remove his mask. But he simply smiles and says, "You've become one of us." That line twists the entire narrative of the franchise. Now, the question isn't whether Maya lived or died. The question is, did she lose herself? Or did she finally find who she really was? Now let's talk about the film's budget, cast, and release date. The Strangers. Chapter 2 is reportedly made on a budget of around $15 million. A balanced and smart figure for a horror film of this scale. The original 2008 film was made for just $9 million and went on to earn $82 million worldwide. Prey at Night and Chapter 1 also made several times their budgets. For Chapter 2, the lead role is once again played by Madelaine Petsch, reprising her performance as Maya. Gabriel Basso joins as a strong and mysterious supporting character, and Emma Horvath also plays a key role. Someone who may either assist Maya or fall victim to the same masked killers. The film is directed by Renny Harlin, known for action classics like Die Hard 2. He directed Chapter 1 as well and is now spearheading the entire trilogy with a consistent vision. The release date is set for September 26, 2025. A carefully chosen fall date, aligning perfectly with Halloween season when audiences are especially drawn to horror. So the big question, how much can this film earn? Considering the buzz from the trailer, the rising popularity of horror franchises, and the recent success of films like Smile, The Nun, and M3 Gan, The Strangers, Chapter 2 stands a strong chance of pulling in between $60 million to $100 million at the US box office alone, if word of mouth is strong. This could become the biggest hit in the franchise's history. And friends, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it and hit that subscribe button. Because Cinema Update is your go-to destination for the fastest, most honest, and most explosive Hollywood film updates. Drop a comment below and tell us, are you ready to witness Maya's final battle with fear and vengeance? Will she survive, or will her past finally consume her?